You got to post content that appeals to the masses. Here's the thing to know, it's not going to help you generate the right type of customers. It's how do you get your money to work for you more and more over time. That is really the key to succeeding.
This is Neil Patel, helping you succeed through online marketing.
All right, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to do a episode, longer form one. And the first thing that we wanted to cover in this episode is the fact that there is one person that I know that gets over 100 million impressions on his LinkedIn page. He runs a page called Marketing Millennials. His name is Daniel Murray. I want to talk about how he's growing this page, and it's from my understanding, it does multiple 7 figures a year.
Yeah, if you look at his content specifically, it doesn't matter if you're B2B or B2C. If you want to go viral on Twitter and get the amount of impressions that like Marketing Millennials is, you got to post content that appeals to the masses. So he'll have content like an image that says, focus on what matters. And it'll be a circle, and a small fraction of it, call it like 1/10 of it, is highlighted in red. And he's like, focus here. And 90% of the circle will be, he'll label it like things we obsess about. And he's telling you don't focus there. Or there'll be a little meme of like a one-person team marketers doing everything. And it's just like a person on a one-wheel tricycle, juggling, putting stuff on their head. Or he has another image that says like growth is never a straight line, and it's just a jaggedy line that goes up and to the right. Here's the thing to know. If you're looking to generate revenue from newsletters, ads, things like that, these impression counts, not bad. Go for, a big chunk of impressions, whatever's going to generate the most. If you're looking for, and this is specifically on LinkedIn, if you're looking for enterprise clients, because I know a lot of you guys use LinkedIn for enterprise marketing. If you put out a lot of broad content, we've done a lot of tests on this. It's not going to help you generate the right type of customers. If you're looking for enterprise software sales, enterprise consulting contracts, you got to get very specific, targeting the actual position and the type of person that you want to sell into. So for example, we sell a lot of times into marketing managers, head of marketings, VP of marketings, VP of growth, CMOs. So we'll try to post content that appeals specifically to them, like a case study of results we provided for another client. Or we'll post content on things like cookieless world for marketers and what enterprise companies need to understand for that, because that's something that they're concerned a lot about, at least from our talks with Forrester. So covering topics like that won't create the virality, won't get us 110 million impressions, but it does generate really qualified leads and revenue for us.
The idea of spectacle marketing versus relationship building marketing, right? Or like spectacle content versus relationship building content. So when you think about spectacles, it's like Mr. Beast, right? Like he hired an assassin to like find him or whatever, right? And you win like 100,000 at the very end. Now, what that means is that's a spectacle, right? You're going to get a lot of views, to get a Neil's point. But also relationship marketing or content on the other side is, instead of doing these 5 to 10 minute spectacles, now they're doing like 1 hour, 2 hour. It's a little different because you're going deep on the relationship there. So kind of similar, kind of different. That's why I wanted to combine them together. I do want to show the screen as well. So upgrade your plan to team. Okay, yep, not doing that. So let's move over to move over here.
Eric and I are still frugal. Bad economy. Save every penny you can. Yeah, so you can see the example I was talking about if you're watching us on YouTube, of him telling you where to focus in the circle or the growth line. But you can see how his contents just appeal to broad audiences. He has an image of Kim Kardashian leveraging a meme there. But this is stuff that's not going to drive you really qualified leads for enterprise, but it can get you a ton of followers. And then when you do post related content, hopefully more people within your audience.
This YouTube creators event that I went to, a couple of lessons I learned. Everyone has their own unique funnel. And so as I was saying earlier, I met a gal that does OnlyFans, and I have no judgment for those that do OnlyFans. Like, your business is your business, right? I'm just looking at this from a marketing standpoint. She drives all her traffic from Twitter. So she posts like a photo of herself, like photos of herself, right? And sometimes these photos will get like 1 million impressions, 2 million impressions or so. And then in the comments, they'll just say, subscribe to my OnlyFans. So it's very simple funnel, right? Like, but then there's another guy I know, he uses TikTok, and through TikTok, He drives all that traffic because TikTok, you could go the most viral of all the short form platforms. He uses that, drives them to his Instagram page, and then through his Instagram page, drives them to a phone call to buy his $2,000 course. And through that, he's doing $20 million a year. He runs no ads. He's a solo person business, just like the OnlyFans gal. But I find that really interesting.
No, it definitely is. Dude, what's funny is, did you ever listen to the Cody Sperber interview of the OnlyFans girl?
Who the hell is that?
Cody Sperber is, he calls himself the clever investor.
Yeah. Clever investor.
He's a real estate guy, really smart when it comes to real estate. But he
More than
interviewed
that.
someone who's popular on OnlyFans. And some of them are generating like millions and millions and millions a year. And then in my head, I was thinking, I'm like, what are they going to do in the long run? Like once that revenue dies down, because it doesn't last forever, right? I don't know the exact type of content that they're posting, but it's not hard to guess. And again, I'm not judging it. But if someone's posting or they're buying your content because of how you look, we all get older. It's natural. There's nothing wrong with getting older. Are they going to still subscribe? Maybe they will, because people are also getting older.
So Neil, I asked her, do you want to know the answer? She was like, no,
Yeah.
she's like, I'm buying like a house every single year right now, and I want to buy more homes, and I just want to cash flow off the homes. And I was like, that's really smart. You have to have assets at the end of the day. Otherwise, you're not really, wealthy.
Yeah, the big lesson for any of you guys, whether it's OnlyFans or not, the question is how can you make your money work for you instead of you continually having to work for the money? And it's funny because I travel a lot. Eric knows this. He was messaging me on another event, but like right now, I'm pretty much traveling every single week, which kind of gets hard with wife and kids. So much so, like I even thought about buying a jet. I spent way too many hours last year looking at jets. Bad for the environment. My wife and I are little green people. And then I started looking again just because like I miss being around my kids, and I'm like, I can probably cut my travel down into half of the days I'm away from my children. If I buy a plane or charter, I can do one or the other. And I mainly travel international, which it kind of gets really expensive. The overall point is when I travel for events, I don't know why I brought up the jet point, but when I travel for events, most people look at me as a marketer. And Eric knows this, although I'm already leading him by asking him this question. Eric, what do you see me as?
No, I actually see you more as a business person now. Maybe I used to see you as a marketer before we met, but it's different now. But I also know you really well, so it's different.
Yes, and I don't make the majority of my money from marketing. I make it from business and investments, and it compounds over time. It's how do you get your money to work for you more and more over time? That is really the key to succeeding.
But at the end of the day, it's actually good to be known for like one area because it's like easy for people to understand. And so I've grown to like accept that, and I think it's the same for you.
Yeah, I don't really care what people think of me as. It's more so if you are a marketer, whether it's affiliate marketer or any type of marketer, and that's how you generate your income, it doesn't mean you need to take your money and only make more by doing more marketing stuff. It could be you buy an e-commerce site, do your marketing talents on it, and then have that residual income without you running it anymore, and you sip pina coladas on the beach, whatever it may be. Or I take a lot of my money and I park it in venture funds, private equity funds, and hedge funds, and I'm getting consistent returns. I've been doing that for ages, where now I could just live off that money and I don't ever need to work again. Yes, that money isn't quote unquote as liquid. I also do stocks, or quite a bit of stocks as well, but still it's just like, it's consistent enough. If you invest in them every single year and you've been doing it for 10 years, you have enough liquidity each year. Or I can just do a capital call on a hedge fund or sell some of my stocks or anything like that. And now these days, the banks will actually lend you against your private equity holdings.
Not to go too deep on this, but maybe we'll do an episode on this separately if you guys like it. And by the way, we do appreciate all the new reviews that are coming in that like the long form videos. Yeah, keep it up. That'll keep us going here. So let's go on to the next subject. Neil, you brought this up. And again, Neil was traveling this week, but he saw this one that caught his eye on ChatGPT getting banned in Italy.
Yeah, they're worried about claims to the work that ChatGPT is producing the content based off of. So ChatGPT is a much, 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 much better version than an article spinner when it comes to creating content. Here's what I mean by that, right? And I'm not trying to degrade what Sam Altman did with OpenAI. It's amazing. Our article spinner is you input content and it spins out a variation of that content. So it's using the input sources and then it's spitting out text for you. Now, what ChatGPT is doing for most marketers, and it does way more than this, but just in a basic form, it's scraping the web for content on any topic so that when you ask it a question related to a specific segment, like if you ask it a question related to social media marketing, it goes and looks at all the content that is scraped around social media marketing, and it'll create new content based off of that, right? So in essence, it's using original pieces of article or information as a sources to go and create something new. And Italy doesn't like that. And I bet you're going to see way more countries not liking it as well. And it's not just from a text-based content perspective with the responses they're giving, with the poems they're writing, with anything that you're asking ChatGPT to do. It's pulling from a database full of content. And that content is what it's using to go and create new content. That's why I always say it's a better and a new version of an article spinner, not trying to undermine what OpenAI did. It's really complex. I'm not smart enough to do what they did. It's genius. Yeah, I think you're going to have way more countries within Europe having issues. And I would first see it out of Europe because that's where you have GDPR and they're very strict and picky about privacy. And then maybe you'll start seeing other countries start following suit. Or at least there's going to be either lawsuits or a lot of legal issues. And I'm not a lawyer, but I bet something like that's going to follow. If not, you're going to get the ambulance chasers, at least in the United States, trying to sue someone because they use ChatGPT and figure out how they can just make a quick buck.
Yep. So, we're going to tie all this together and give you the marketing lesson in a bit, but I just wanted to show you this, my screen here as Neil, I don't know if you know this, but when we were babies, this actually happened. Teachers wanted to ban calculators in 1988. This is like a more intense version. Like ChatGPT can basically do your homework for you. It could do a lot more than that. And here's the other thing. David Sachs, who founded Yammer, let's just call him a popular SaaS investor. He's one of the co-hosts of the All In podcast. He did this post over here on the give to get model for AI startups. So you can see almost 20 years ago, startup named Jigsaw. I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but it's a pretty well done post over here, right? So like there's a post within a post here. I just want to show you this post. It's pretty good. And you scroll over here, it just this give to get model, right? It's pretty long form. And you know what? Most of it was done by AI. Okay, there's about 1,100 words or so. So
He had to help it. If it's 1,100 words, the chances are he helped modify it. Because most AI tools don't produce 1,100 words that are really well written. Most AI writers will produce around 500 words for you. Just for a rough reference for most of you guys, yes, you can get them to produce like 750 and stuff, but the moment you want to have them produce 1,000 plus words and it to be high quality, you have to do more of a paragraph by paragraph output.
So there's a site called ShareGPT, so you can actually share the conversations you're having with ChatGPT. You have an ideator here for you that can also do the research, but maybe this got 50 or 60% of the work done, and then he edited the rest. Because of the genie's out of the bottle on this stuff, you can't put it back in. Same thing with crypto, right? It's very hard to put it back in, especially since crypto's been around for a while too. But I digress.
Look, at the end of the day, if you look at ChatGPT and AI, it's here to stay. It's just going to go through a lot of legal hurdles, regulation hurdles, and it's going to go through a lot of ups and downs, but eventually it's going to be used more and more in businesses to just make lives easier, whether it's in helping write content, which is what most marketers think, but start thinking bigger, like it helping you analyze analytics in real time, and then you making more informed marketing decisions daily versus monthly or quarterly, and you would have way less wasted spend, which may not seem like a big deal to you, but like think about a company like Procter & Gamble where they spend over 8 billion with the B dollars in advertising. Doing daily analysis of your analytics and your campaigns, if I had a guess, would easily save them hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So for enterprise businesses, it will save them an arm and a leg. And then also think about it from a process standpoint. It'll make things much more
Dharmesh Shah, who is one of the co-founders of HubSpot, he recently was quoted as spending over 10 million on the domain chat.com, and he spent about 7 figures on the domain prompt.com. Just to give a little more context here, obviously with ChatGPT and obviously with ChatGPT, you have to think of the best prompts, right? And also you're chatting with it as well. He hasn't quite figured out what he wants to do with chat.com, but at least with prompt.com, that might be a site where he has like the best prompts.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up using it for something related to marketing because that's what HubSpot's business is all about, sales and marketing. He'll use it for something related to AI. And I do believe, why wouldn't HubSpot start going after this category? They are a massive corporation.
Yeah, and it takes guts. I mean, even though he's a billionaire, to take his own money off his own balance sheet and make it work first, and then probably give it back to HubSpot. That's how he looks at, like, he likes to tinker, right? Like,
Well, let's put it in perspective. So, just to give you guys idea, if someone has $1 billion and they spend $10 million on a domain name, it's 1%. Yes, it does take guts. Two, I think it's a smart move either way. But for HubSpot or him, whoever ended up purchasing it, it's not a lot of cash. It's like Bill Gates spending $1 billion. People like, okay, whoop-de-doo, he still has 99 billion more dollars. It doesn't really make a difference to his life. Also, look at his bets. It's not about him buying chat or prompt or anything like that. HubSpot and Dharmesh, just generally, if you look at their history, they make many bets. Whether it's their website grader or going free on a CRM and going after Salesforce, some of these bets in business and marketing pay off. Some of them don't. It's a numbers game, and their batting average is amazing. So why not keep placing these bets? Yeah, some of them may cost you 10 million here or there, or 15 here, and like it all adds up. But if you just look at HubSpot's stock, you're talking about a $21 billion company. That's the valuation of it. So whether it's 10 million or 15 million, it's not that much money in the grand scheme of things.
Two more things we want to talk about, and as we work towards getting towards the end. Since we're on the top of AI, so Neil, how are you guys using it internally at your company right now?
It can help with process ideation, streamlining content creation. We're also using it for analytics analysis and trying to get insights on a daily basis versus getting insights on a weekly basis or quarterly basis or monthly basis. That's where we really see the opportunity. Yeah, content creation is already cheap. You can have a lot of people create content or use AI to create content, even come up with ideas. But analysis of analytics and getting insights daily, we see that being a real game changer in marketing, not only to save companies money, but to gobble up market share and create faster growth with less of a spend.
Yep. One thing we're doing, and hopefully this gives you all some ideas in terms of how we're playing around with it. And I think Neil and I will continue to update you on how we're messing around with this stuff, because it's fun. And we just want to get the ideas jogging for you as well to help your business. Now, final thing, setting the stage for this one is, you look at companies like Meta, you look at companies like Amazon, but recently, they've laid off a lot of people. But Accenture, who they're more of like a services company, they just cut 20,000 jobs. And you can see, Disney, they cut their entire metaverse division. Amazon was even talking about like wanting people to come back, but then like 20,000 people signed a petition. But then Amazon was like, hey, that's okay. Like, we can either work on you coming back or like you can transition out. So I think we're starting to see the pendulum swing now for businesses, but now things are changing quite a bit. I think we're going to see as much remote first. I think we got a taste of it, but I think most of us understand that, at least a lot of founders I'm talking to, it's probably better to be in person. So Neil might disagree because they're fully committed to remote first. So I want to get your thoughts.
We are committed to remote first. We do have WeWork still. So if people believe that it's more effective for them to be in person and meet with each other, we will set up satellite offices like WeWorks. In some cities, I think we have more than just a WeWork, but it really is based on two factors. One, it's what the employees want. Two, it's also what certain clients want, because certain clients require us to have certain presences in certain cities for at least the enterprise deals.
Yep. So my take on this one too, I mean, look, when you're in person together, Neil, we're talking separately. Like, you were looking at, office space in Vegas, more so not for your people.
No, it's just me. Like, like those really sick private equity offices. I'm not talking about the law firms. Think of one like one level higher and better than that. I've always just wanted that. And when I look at the economics, I don't want a small office. So even though it'd be only me in the office, I want at least 10,000 square feet. So you're probably talking, I would spend like $3-4 million on a build out and then the rent. And then my guys always tell me like, it would be a waste of money. But some things you just dream about and you want. I didn't end up spending it. As my wife says best, she's like, you already travel every week. She's like, you're never going to even go into the office. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. So I never ended up doing it. Eric always said, he's like, hey, if you move back down one day to SoCal, we can always get an office together, come into my office. I still don't know if I would go into an office. I thought about building a home and making one whole floor of the home, like my basement, a office with like meeting rooms and conference tables and all that kind of stuff. Although I've never really done it, although it's in one of my house plans. But I think what's going to end up happening is it's going to be different for every company. I know some companies I kid you not, because of the type of people they're hiring, they need to be trained up. And a lot of them are flaky, like the type of employees they're going after, because they're hiring unskilled labor. They don't want to pay them much. If you don't want to pay people much, don't expect the world from them. They need them to show up in the office or else they don't perform as well. And on the flip side, you're in an enterprise company, let's say consulting, and your people need to be doing meetings all the time, being flying to customers, selling. They may not need an office. Or if they need an office, it may just be small because you may want them on the road because they close more revenue for you. I really do believe it's going to vary from company to company. Right now, you're seeing a big push for a lot of corporations to say, hey, you need to come into the office. It's going to make you more efficient. And I do buy it to some extent, but I do know a lot of people that are high up at places like Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, like really high up. I'm not talking about like VPs. I'm talking about extremely high up and people who have made well over $1 billion in comp, either A, early employees, or B, some of the owners or co-founders. Some of these guys are just pushing for this because they want to lay off employees, but they don't actually want to lay them off, because if they lay them off, it costs them a lot of money. But if they force people into the office, they know a ton of people are going to quit, and that's just going to save them a lot of money. You save hundreds of millions of dollars. No joke. Like, depending on your company size, you save a lot of money on severance.
But my bet on this one, in the next 5-10 years or so, I think we're going to see the majority of companies have a hybrid model. So yeah.
You want to know what's funny? Out of all the people I've trained in marketing, I haven't trained any of them in person on a regular basis in an office. Almost all of it was done virtually. Yes, at NP Digital, or even my past life, right? Like Sean, who managed a lot of our content marketing back in the day and got our blogs to millions of visitors a month, just teaching a little different strategies and tactics. But like, he was based in Orange County and I was based in Seattle at the time. You could do a lot of stuff virtually. But the point I'm getting at is, and that was pre-Zoom, you can do a lot of stuff just over a Skype call, or, just picking up the phone. And if someone already has the basic fundamentals, you can help them shine depending on what industry you're in, at least in marketing, without in person. And yes, it's going to work for some people. It's not going to work for others. But I'm a big believer, when you hire people, either some people have it and they have the drive and they just want to push forward, and those are people you want to hire. And then some people really need to be pushed and you have to micromanage them. And those are the people I try to avoid hiring.
If it's a high performer, remote first is fine for the most part, unless it's like you have to collaborate. It's not a high performer. Like, if it's someone that needs to be micromanaged or needs to be pushed, I just can't, right?
No, life is too short.
By the way, if you're a high performer, you want to work at a great company, you can apply MP Digital, you can apply to Single Grain. We're always looking to hire a high performer. So
that's it. If you guys like this episode, make sure you rate and review it. Even if you don't, please rate and review it, so at least we learned what we did wrong. If you didn't like it, you can give us a 1-star. Just tell us what we did wrong and how to improve. And thank you for listening. Now, if you have any questions, leave a comment below. I'm here to answer them and help you out. If you enjoyed the video, like it, share it, tell people about it. Thank you very much.